In small charities, trust is everything. Donors give, volunteers serve, and at the center are those who manage the money, the quiet guardians. For over 20 years, Mary Ann was that guardian, the trusted accountant, the one no one questioned. But behind her tidy ledgers, a chilling pattern was emerging. It started with a series of accidents, board members and managers meeting sudden violent ends in the office stairwell. The official story was always the same: accidental fall, a tragic mishap. Police found no foul play. The charities mourned, collected insurance, and moved on. But the accidents kept happening, always to those who'd started asking quiet questions about the finances. Each victim had noticed small discrepancies, odd transactions, and scheduled meetings with Mary Ann that never happened. Mary Ann was always there, processing paperwork, above suspicion. No one imagined the woman balancing the books could also be orchestrating death. Evil can wear the most ordinary face, hiding in plain sight, cloaked in competence. The systems meant to protect became tools for manipulation. The hum of a well-run office, the trust in a long-time employee, the belief in a good cause, all became weapons in a patient, deadly scheme. The truth wasn't in a dramatic confrontation, but in forgotten maintenance logs and faint digital footprints. Mary Ann's story is a reminder. Sometimes the greatest danger is the one you never think to question. In the world of charity, trust can be a double-edged sword. The shadow in the stairwell was always there, unseen until someone finally looked, and by then, it was almost too late. Mary Ann was the model employee, dependable, discreet, and devoted. She moved between charities, always leaving behind order and glowing recommendations. Her specialty, turning chaos into clarity, never seeking the spotlight. She was the first in, last out, remembered birthdays, and listened, but never gossiped. Her professionalism made her seem trustworthy, almost maternal. This perception was her shield, allowing her to operate without scrutiny. Who would suspect the meticulous accountant of theft? Mary Ann understood the weaknesses of small nonprofits, overworked leaders, volunteer boards, and a culture of trust. She built a fortress of credibility, becoming a fixture in every organization. Her departures were always smooth, her reasons plausible, her farewells heartfelt. No one connected the dots between the tragedies that followed her. Each charity was an island, unaware of the pattern. Mary Ann's mask didn't just hide her actions, it erased her tracks. The first death was at an environmental nonprofit in 2008. David, the board treasurer, found financial irregularities and planned to confront Mary Ann. He never made it, found dead in the stairwell, ruled an accident. Years later, at a literacy program, Sarah noticed grant money wasn't being used as promised. She confided in a friend about questioning Mary Ann. The next day, she too fell to her death. At an art center, an auditor flagged suspicious fund transfers and wanted to talk to Mary Ann. He died in a stairwell with a broken light bulb. Another accident. Each time, the charity received a large insurance payout processed by Mary Ann. The victims were diligent, not dramatic whistleblowers, just people doing their jobs. Their deaths brought financial windfalls, always managed by Mary Ann. The connection was there, but too monstrous to consider. It was easier to believe in bad luck than suspect the quiet accountant. The tragedies were seen as isolated, the pattern invisible. Mary Ann's presence was the only constant. The deaths followed questions about money. The stairwells became silent witnesses. No one saw the predator behind the mask. The pattern was hidden in plain sight. And so, the accidents continued. The truth surfaced quietly thanks to Chloe, a young auditor who dug deeper than anyone before. Mary Ann's ledgers were flawless, too flawless. Chloe ran a forensic analysis, tracking funds over time. She found a pattern. Small amounts moved to secondary accounts Mary Ann controlled, then returned, leaving no year-end trace. These transfers often coincided with periods of financial scrutiny. Insurance payouts from the deaths were routed through these same accounts. with small amounts siphoned off before the rest reached the charity. It wasn't a single theft, but a slow, methodical bleed over decades. Marianne used the system as a weapon, hiding behind complexity and trust. Most in the nonprofit world aren't forensic accountants. They trust the numbers. Chloe realized this was more than embezzlement. It was a motive for murder. The ledgers whispered a terrible truth. The pattern was subtle, but undeniable. Marianne's scheme relied on being overlooked, but Chloe refused to look away. The numbers told the real story. Stairwells, forgotten, poorly lit, rarely monitored, were Marianne's perfect accomplices. She knew which were isolated, which had blind corners, and when they'd be empty. Maintenance logs revealed a pattern. Every fatal fall happened where safety issues had been reported but never fixed. Marianne, managing both finances and office administration, subtly delayed repairs, misfiled work orders, claimed tight budgets, promised to get to it next week. These small acts of sabotage kept the danger alive. No cameras meant no witnesses. Did the victims slip, or were they pushed? With no footage, it was one person's word against a corpse. Marianne was always elsewhere, shocked and saddened when the news broke. The stairwells kept her secrets, and no one ever suspected the accountant. Life insurance policies on key staff are standard in small nonprofits, meant to protect the organization. Marianne set up and managed these policies, arguing they were prudent. When tragedy struck, the payout was substantial, a lifeline for struggling charities. This created a silent conflict. The organization mourned but also benefited financially. No one wanted to question the official story and risk losing the funds. Marianne handled the claims, controlled the money, and skimmed her share before transferring the rest. Leaders, grateful for the payout, never scrutinized the details. Any hint of scandal could jeopardize the claim. Marianne made sure everyone knew it. Internal investigations fizzled. The fear of scandal silenced dissent. The charities took the money and tried to forget. Marianne counted on their desire for quiet resolution. Her scheme thrived in the silence. Marianne's crimes thrived not just on her cunning, but on others' reluctance to see. Nonprofits are built on trust. No one expects evil among do-gooders. Overworked leaders focused on the mission, delegating finances to the trusted expert. Concerns were dismissed as administrative issues, not red flags. The idea of a killer accountant was unthinkable. Fear of scandal kept questions at bay. Public trust is everything. It was easier to accept tragedy than risk the charity's reputation. This blind spot made Marianne's work easy. The very trust that built these organizations became their greatest vulnerability. Marianne's undoing came not from a single hero, but a sisterhood of women who refused to let the story die. Chloe, the auditor, met skepticism, but persisted, reaching out to former employees. She found an HR manager troubled by insurance claims and a friend haunted by Sarah's last words. Separately, their suspicions were whispers. Together, they became a roar. They pooled financial data, personnel files, and personal testimony, working in secret to connect the dots. They cross-referenced maintenance logs, financial transfers, and death certificates. The pattern was undeniable. Neglected stairwells, financial questions, and Marianne at the center. When their evidence was irrefutable, they bypassed the board and went straight to the district attorney. Their file was too compelling to ignore. The sisterhood did what no one else could. They exposed the monster hiding in plain sight. Their quiet collaboration brought justice. They proved that vigilance and courage can break even the most insidious schemes. The truth finally saw the light. Marianne's arrest sent shockwaves through the nonprofit world. Her legacy became a warning. Unchecked trust can be deadly. The lesson isn't to abandon trust, but to fortify it with vigilance. Organizations must encourage tough questions, implement checks and balances, and never let one person control everything. The real heroes were those who refused the easy answer. Vigilance is everyone's responsibility. Board, staff, volunteers. Simple measures, like tracking maintenance and installing cameras, can prevent secrets from festering. The tragedy touched many. The lost lives, the shattered families, the tarnished missions. The cost of blind trust is immeasurable. True integrity means building transparency so strong there's nowhere for evil to hide.